How's it going, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is Robin, and this is my channel, Oracle Rising. Some of you may recognize me from my other channel, Aries Fire Tarot, where I do tarot card readings and stuff like that to try and interpret energy around you. But this channel, Oracle Rising, I have a bit of a different agenda. So, many people around the planet are going through a spiritual awakening or walking an ascension path. So I'm sort of in the middle of mine, and what I wanted to do is reach out and really join together with people, because my mission, and hopefully yours, is to raise the vibration of the planet. So it's really not an easy task. So the more of us that come together and able to do this will make it easier, and probably make all of us feel a lot better, like we're part of a community, like part of a tribe. So what I wanted to talk about this time is the dark night of the soul. So if you're not familiar with dark night of the soul, it's where, I guess like a lot of addictions clinics call it, your rock bottom. It could be just where you're shutting off facets of your current human self in order to connect with other realms and a bit more of the reality of what is going on outside of the 3D matrix. So actually the first video that I did on this channel, this is the second one, the first video talked about exiting the matrix. So this will just launching off of that one. So I've got 11 points that I wanted to talk about, and I will just, I'm not one to go on and on. So the first point I have here is feeling lost or stuck. People can get to the point in their life, and I think society has coined this a midlife crisis, but I don't think it's really a midlife crisis. It's just where you feel like, well, isn't there more for me in this life? And there is, because there's more to life than waking up, going to work, going home, watching TV, paying bills until the day you die, right? There's a lot more. And this is going to open up for you through your spirituality, whatever your spirituality looks like to you. Like, I embrace everybody's idea of what their God or universe looks like. So if you're feeling like, well, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore, you could be going into a dark night of the soul. So 2, the discovery of spirituality, or Eastern philosophy. And this one, it's like, it particularly resonates with me because a few years ago I started really watching East Indian, apologize if that's the incorrect term, but gurus online, and one particularly stuck out for me, and his name is Paramahansa Nityananda, and he's surrounded in controversy, but most iconic people are. But just the way that he would illuminate things about your self, yourself, not 3D matrix self, and the way that they enlighten in such a humorous way, because there's more to life, like I said before, than being stuck in a rut and going to work and paying bills until you die. So it really was very illuminating, and I'm probably going to do another video on how to pick your guru. So, but if you start to have these interests that there's more than what you've been taught, there is. So that's point number 2. So the third point I have here is success takes on a different meaning. So largely our culture, it recognizes success by the size of your house, the expense of your car, and the length of your bank balance. So is that really success, or is that just hoarding money? When people hoard other things, like there's a show called Hoarders, those people that stockpile all this random crap in their house, they're not by any means celebrated. But people that hoard money, they're celebrated. for some reason, even though it's the same thing. But anyway, so your success could look different to you. Your success could be how calm you are, instead of how rich you are. So really starting to question what success looks for you as an individual. The fourth point, you start waking up to the matrix. So if you haven't watched my video, so you'd like to exit the matrix, you may wish to view that, or you may wish to go ahead and watch the movie The Matrix. You'll just see how controlled everything is. There's a lot of people out there on YouTube doing videos about what's going on, right? So if you start seeing things that you question, that's probably a good sign that you're going to be going through a dark night of the soul. So the fifth point is that you connect more with suffering. So this is really interesting, because you start to realize like that sort of entrainment where we're brought up to walk by homeless people on the street, or like not care about people fleeing for their lives from war-torn countries. You start to see that there's something really going on there, and we shouldn't be turning the other cheek. It's one love. Everything is one love, you guys. It's just an accident of birth that could have put any one of us in any other situation than the one we're currently in right now, right? So, and would you want compassion if you really needed it? If you were all of a sudden homeless, if somebody dropped a bomb on your house and you had to escape with your kids? So really starting to have your eyes open about that. The sixth point, irregular sleep habits. You could be waking up in the middle of the night. Was it Wayne Dwyer? He said if you wake up in the middle of the night, it's because the angels have a message for you, and you should probably stay awake and listen to it. So for most of us that have to get up and go to work in the morning, that can be a little bit difficult, right? But do you know what I mean? Like not being able to sleep, getting up super early, being woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And there's meanings to waking up at particular times. So you can look into that. Like go ahead and, why am I waking up at 3:33 a.m.? Look that up in a browser, you guys. The seventh point, you become aware of yourself and your thoughts. And that can be a pretty confusing time, And again, like I'm here to bring specific points that you could be entering a dark night of the soul, or you're in one. So I really encourage everybody to do your own research, and whatever works for you. So becoming aware of yourself and your thoughts, being aware of what you're thinking can be freedom, and so many people are taught to think in a negative way. So you could be becoming more mindful, or really just starting to meditate, or doing whatever feels right for you. So I think that's a really interesting point, and that was something I really want to encourage you to look into on your own. You become aware of your need to heal. So there's so many people that carry trauma throughout their life, and go through just a cycle of blame, and that's all that is in it, is an escape not to heal yourself. That was the biggest part of my dark night of the soul, is that just releasing this pain that I was, that was inflicted on me, that I subjected to myself, continuing patterns. So being able to break out of patterns and heal yourself instead of staying victimized. It's a choice, it's an option. And there's entire cultures that live this way. And I think it's really sad to continue on things that happened hundreds of years ago, you know what I mean? And just keep on carrying it down, and then they never heal. And then everybody's a hot mess. So the ninth point that you could be experiencing a dark night of the soul, your ego steps aside. So your ego it's here to protect you, but it doesn't usually do a very good job because it deflects everything and everybody. Your ego is anger, your ego is resentment, your ego is arrogance. So being able to separate yourself from your ego in order to look at things in a more like dispassionate way, being able to be calm in situations is its own reward. And as long as your ego is standing in front of you, that's probably not going to happen. So that's a really interesting one too. And again, you guys, I really encourage you to go and do your own research on stuff like this. So the 10th point, you realize that you are surrounded by spirits, right? You're never alone, you guys. There's so many dimensions happening around us. There's so much activity. Sometimes you can feel things and sometimes you can't. And sometimes it's really scary. And I read something the other day, you guys, that said, it was a meme, and it was like, so she realized that all this time her monsters were there to protect her. And I realized as a child, I always felt like there was somebody in my room. And my parents taught me to be afraid of that presence. So I always thought it was a monster. But because I'm a psychic and an empath and a medium to a certain extent, it was my spirit guides and my angels. And I was brought up to be afraid of them. So, it's okay to have your spirits around you. They're there to support you. And if you were brought up to believe that they were monsters, you were really done a disservice. So that's something to look at in a different way. And knowing that your spirits are around you, they're here to help you on your path, because they can see things that you can't, like your angel guides, if you're a star seed, like whatever you got going on out there, you guys, whatever path that you're following, really just realize that your angels are always there. Like for me, I call them angels and spirits because that's how I believe, right? So I call on my angels for help. I call on my spirits for help. I can really feel them when I start talking to them, but for the most part, they're always just kind of not too far away. So the 11th one is a really big one, and it can take different periods of time for people. Like some people it can take like forever, and some people they manage really quickly, but you go through a process of falling apart and putting yourself back together again. So it's where it's almost like everything around you changes, like yourself, really. The things that you believe in, the things that you understand, your circle of friends. Some of you might even change jobs. You might move to a different location because all of a sudden your heart and soul, they need different things. So, and for people from the outside looking in, and to you too, it can probably feel like, oh, what's going on, So, but you have to really just trust the process, and it's all happening for a reason, and when you get to the other side of it, you'll be probably a completely different person, and you'll have vibrated people and things right out of your life, and that's for a reason. It's so that new things can come in. Like if you're sitting here watching me and this is your first time, really having a bit of an eye-opening experience with regards to that, you might need to have the feeling that you're being put back together again, but you're the only one that can do that. But knowing that there's a community out here that shares how you see, feel, think, it really does help. So just know that like this is a process that everybody goes through. I mean, I had a pretty disastrous 7 years, where everything just blew apart, and I was like standing there by myself wondering what was going on. And that's where I started my own journey, and now I'm in a place where I'd like to share that and hopefully help other people and have conversations and be supportive, You know, so guys, I really hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that it made some sense, resonated in some way. So let me know in the comments, and guys, really do your best to like, share, and subscribe so we can get our community growing here. We can support each other and, you know, walk our path of raising the vibration of the planet and making Earth a better place for all creatures to live. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Love you guys. Bye.